Hello, this is Ella, and let's just hop right into it. So I'm currently playing Pokemon Violet and was inspired to make this video because I just really liked a lot of the bizarre and creative choices that went into each design. Okay, so I am not a Pokemon connoisseur in the slightest. I played 2 of the Pokemon games in my childhood, and that was Pokesnap and Stadium. I've played a few more now, but I still haven't really dipped my toes into a lot of all the other games. I played a little bit of Soul Silver, and I played one of the Sword and Shields, I don't know which one, and I am currently playing Violet. Let's just get right into it with my friends and myself as our gym leader sonas. So first off, I'll talk about mine. So going in, I already knew that I wanted to be a fairy type. Fairy type Pokemons and psychic types are my favorite overall, I think. I really love Alcremie. She's my favorite, like my all-time favorite Pokemon. I love her so much. I also love Mimikyu and Ditto, but Alcremie stole my heart in the Sword and Shield one. And I just really like the cute looking ones, like the little baby ones. I think they're so adorable. So the first thing I did with my character is I gave them a bit of like a backstory to help flesh out and help me come up with ideas for the designs. In the long run, when I was coming up with my ideas for my character, it was supposed to be my gym leader Sona. It doesn't really represent me at all, like backstory wise and character wise, but I'm very happy with what I came up with because design wise I feel like it very much is me, but the backstory I gave her, it isn't like me at all. So the quick backstory I gave the character is I wanted to go for a fairy type gym leader who is very into looking and acting like proper and looking very nice and have like nice aesthetic. She has a lot of hobbies that she tries to dive into, but she is awful at every single hobby that she tries to pick up. Like I picture her taking up sewing or knitting and just having like the worst time ever and just struggling so much. I know all that stuff's usually supposed to be like really relaxing for people, so it just like stresses her out and makes her really angry. This is kind of drawing from reality because my sister tried to teach me crochet one time and I just cried the entire time I was getting help from her. I also picture her doing ceramics and having like a big crack in like her teacup that she wanted to make that she like painted herself, but despite that she's like still drinking something, but she's like drinking like Gatorade from it instead of tea because she doesn't like the taste of tea. Just like silly stuff like that. And despite being bad at all these things, she does find herself being naturally good at Pokemon fighting, which annoys her because she hates Pokemon fighting because she finds it repetitive and very boring. So I thought that would be like a good thing to start off with to give me some help with the designs. And since every Pokemon gym gets like a prerequisite challenge that they have to do before the actual battle, I decided that hers would be a dance-off where she challenges you to a dance-off. And of course, since she's absolutely awful at everything besides Pokemon fighting, it's like one of the easiest ones to beat. So now, design-wise, I found myself getting the most ideas mixing parts of Pokemon creatures into the designs themselves of like the characters and gym leaders, which is something I know that they do, such as an example being like Morty with his scarf, and I pretty much ran with that with every design. So I'm sorry in advance if I mispronounce any of the Pokemon names. I have no idea how to pronounce like probably a lot of them going in, and I'm really bad at pronunciation, so I'm sorry. So I gave her a shaw that's in the shape of like Audino. Her buttons, I made the diamond shape that is on Tinkatink's tummy that I thought was really cute and would make like a really pretty button. There is a lot of cute swirls on a lot of the Pokemon fairy types, so I gave her hair swirls that I feel like are most reminiscent of Tapu Lele. The rim of the dress was supposed to kind of look like the mushroom one, Shinotic. The bow on the chest is a mixture of, again, Audino with like the little swirls in the ears, as well as Sylveon, because Sylveon has like those like bow-like things that kind of go out. And the dress sleeves were made to look like Alcremie's swirls, and the cups were kind of made to look like Milcery. And lastly, the hair was inspired by, again, Alcremie, because a lot of the inspiration I took, I thought that since Alcremie was her favorite, she wanted to take most inspiration from Alcremie when like thinking about like putting on the outfit itself, like when she's coming up with the thing, being like, oh, what should I wear? And she's like, well, I like Alcremie, so I'll have stuff that reminds me of her. And I felt like I thought the Fido buns were really cute too, so that was like another inspiration on top of that. Oh, and one last thing is I made her pose be her blowing like a little kiss because it's supposed to be that one attack that's like the draining kiss move. Okay, so that was all of that. Besides Robbie, who is coming up after this one that I'm going to talk about, the rest of the character designs I'm going to go into just like the design mostly, unless they gave me ideas like on their backstory that they wanted me to incorporate into the outfit. Okay, so next was Dylan. He's a dark type. His backstory he gave me before designing is that he wanted his Sona to be all about gaining knowledge through battles, whether he wins or lose. He doesn't care as long as something was gained, and he hates fighting if it ends up being like a pointless battle. So for his design, he had also provided me with the team that he wanted to use if he was like a real Pokemon leader. This gave me a lot of inspiration to put into his design. So a lot of patterns I found that were like in contrast to the fairy type is that the dark types have a lot of spikes and like triangular like Pokemon. So I wanted to convey that in like his spiky hair and his very spiky outfit. So I feel like it was a good contrast because I feel like a lot of the fairy types are very like rounded. His shirt, I made it look like Tyranitar. He has spiked shoulder pads that were inspired by the cactus one, Cacturn. He had Crocodile on his team as well. So I immediately knew that I had to give him shades since that's like kind of what the I think was supposed to look like anyway. They were like supposed to kind of look like shades in all the designs. And I made it blue instead of black because I thought it popped more with his outfit and his color palette that I gave him. I originally had him in like a green color palette, but he kind of just looked like a little reptile, like dragon type, so I went more like a blue to make him look more like a dark type. His shoes, I made them to be kind of like the same shape as Ponyrat. I put Umbreon's little like yellow shape on his glove, and the green, like it almost looks like wristbands that are on Zarude on his wrist. I also wanted to give him a little spike that was kind of like a Dino, but ultimately I scrapped it because it just didn't like fit and it didn't like look right with the way I had styled his hair. And lastly, of course, as you can see, I gave him like a little bit of a scarf cape hybrid, and that was made to look like Tyranitar's tail. Some of us were talking about the gym leaders and like the order that they would be fought in, and we collectively agreed that he would be either the very first or the very last gym leader that you fight, but like there's no way that he'd be in the middle. Okay, so now we're on to Robbie. So he's an ice type because that's the one that he wanted. I was in call with him when I was coming up with ideas, so he does have a little bit of a backstory. I don't know if this would even be allowed. Just gonna put that out there, like the idea that I had. So his prerequisite before you fight him would be that you have to write down all the Pokemon that you're going to use in your fight against him, and you have to sign a contract at the end of it saying you won't change what you're going to be playing when you're going to fight him. And then during the fight, Robbie pulls out his computer that has a program that he has made himself and like coded himself, and that he puts your Pokemon into like the little program, and it will tell him the best way that he like should like space out like his teams and all that, just like basically everything. It basically just tells him what to do. So in this iteration of Robbie, he's actually a little smug because he knows that he pretty much is guaranteed to win every time. However, I did furrow his brows a little bit in the design just to signify that he's in a constant state of fear that one day there'll be like a bug, or maybe like he'll write like a line of code wrong and the whole program will like mess up and give him like the wrong tax or just like completely crash. I don't really know too much about code, but one of those things could be possible depending on how it is. And again, I don't even know if this is allowed in Pokemon world, like during battles, but in this one it is. So I'm keeping it. So as far as his outfit, I wanted to go, at first I wanted to make his shirt look like a penguin, because the first thing that comes to mind obviously is like Linux mascot, penguin, ice, but it just doesn't really fit with Robbie and like his personality. So I thought I wanted to be more like, give him more of a subtle outfit, almost like he's like, well, I guess I should probably dress like an ice type so I don't confuse anyone. So his glasses are like little icicles that many like ice Pokemon already have, that, so I'm not gonna always put like a picture of like all of them that like kind of remind me of that, but I also felt like they also kind of looked like tusks, kind of like Dugong. His pants are like the brown part of Snover, and the thing that's wrapped around it was inspired by Walrein. His shoes are made to look like rig ice, and that little bottom part of the shoe has like little lines that help tie more in with Abomasnow. His laptop has dots that are also made to look like rig ice's face. And I gave him little paw prints around his pants to kind of look like snow, like footprints, because I thought that'd be cute. Oh, and another thing about his laptop is I put a little sticker of my gym Sona, because in this one, he's a fan of me, because I thought that'd be funny. And lastly, the thing that got corrupted that I wasn't able to show being drawn, I made a little design on his jacket that has Duke on and like has like icicles and like an igloo, and it was just kind of made to look like a little pixely, just a time more like it's programming and like computery aesthetic. Okay, and with that, there's 5 more to go. Okay, so next I'll talk about Jordan, our electric type. So for this one, he gave me his team as well as some ideas regarding his character and how he felt like he'd be like a sporty guy, would make like really bad jokes. I'll just put it on screen so you can read it. Some of the ideas. So this is something I want to go back and fix in the future, but I came up with this idea to make the basketball kind of look like one of those like electric ball thingies that like you touch and there's static, but I had some trouble with it. I made his eyebrows look like thunderbolts because I thought that was kind of cool. His pockets are outlets, which aren't like any Pokemon that I can think of at like from the top of my head, but I just thought it looked really cool and it had to do with electric. I put a lot of plus and minuses, like puzzle and middle around the rim of the jacket. I gave him something that looks like cords on the string of his hoodie that is supposed to kind of look similar to circuitry. His top strings being the tail of Luxio. His watch is Belly Bolt. His socks are inspired by Ampharos. His shoes are red and one is blue to be like Magnemite. And last, since his character is sporty, I made a jersey underneath the jacket. Okay, next I'll talk about my friend Chris. He is the Steel type gym leader. Going to this one, the biggest idea I had was making it night themed, so I came up with turning the night helmet into a Pokemon. I settled on Aeron because I thought it fit as a helmet. The button on his shirt I made into little gears like Clink. The belt around him is like Honedge. I made his gloves look like Registeel. I made his mustache sort of look like Solgaleo. And lastly, his boots, like on the top part, I made it look like Diglett inspired, and the bottom were supposed to look like Colbellion's feet. Okie dokie, so next is Roxy. I had a lot of ideas going into this one, since psychic types are my second favorite after fairy. I wanted it to have like this cute and fun like dancer psychedelic theme, so I gave her spoons as earrings like Kadara. I gave her this little armband that's around the right side of the arm that's similar to Uxie's tail. On the left of her pant leg, I put flowers that Muna has on her, as well as the end of the pants that have like the little pink swirls. It's supposed to be similar to Musharna. The yellow ruffles on the shirt is supposed to be similar to Flittle. The hoop bracelets are similar to Hoopa. The thing on the shoe is just straight up Starmie. And the third eye is the same as the icon from the new Pokemon Snap. Next one I made was Tori. She's the ghost type. Her shaw is in the shape of the Smogius. I gave her a purse that has Venete on it. Inside of the purse is Gimmighoul. The skirt is a similar pattern to Houndstone. A lot of ghost types have gradients, so I put gradients kind of all throughout the outfit. On the hat is a fake flame. That's like where the little bumps go usually on a hat. I don't 100% remember my idea for the ears of the hat. I think it was Mischievous, but I could be completely wrong. I can't remember. And her pin is an adrenaline orb. Okay, the last one. Since Savannah let me pick her type, I wanted to go for grass type since I didn't get a chance to work with a lot of greens in a green color palette, so I thought that'd be pretty fun. The theme I went for in this one, she's kind of a tired gal gaming while she's Pokemon fighting. For the headband, you can probably say that I took the little leaf thing from like several of the Pokemon, but I'll stick to Sunkern since like they have it at the top of their head. The collar is from Shroomish. The earrings are from Cherim. Chespin is a backpack. I gave her a leaf shape rope that's around the sleeping robe. The slippers are Applin. Her pants have yellow at the bottom that's supposed to be like Turtwig. The triangles around the waistband is similar to Maracactus. And lastly, on the pants string, I drew little flower shapes that are supposed to be similar to Wormadam. Here's the whole guys. Here are all of them, side by side. The gym leaders. Thank you for watching.